Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to another video. Thank you so much for logging on and joining me today for a video that I think is way overdue. I get a lot of inboxes, a lot of comments, a lot of people reaching out to me and all kind of saying similar things like, we're struggling to lose weight, we're struggling to find that motivation, in lockdown it's incredibly difficult, my habits have changed, my lifestyle has changed, and I'm kind of either struggling to lose the weight, staying at the same weight, so no matter what I do, no matter how good I feel like I'm being, the weight just will not shift, and it can kind of cause a lot of, again, a lack of motivation. You can feel quite down about it, and to be honest, I've had a weight change as well, and I just wanted to sit down and have a very open and honest conversation and just give you guys some tips, perhaps a different way of looking at things, and just kind of home in on some of the concerns that I've had people reach out to me with. So, and I've made 10 points here that I would like you guys to consider. The first one is accept the situation. Accept the fact that we've had a dramatic lifestyle shift, dramatic lifestyle change that has impacted all of our lives in such a significant way, and that is going to come with some consequence, that is going to come with some changes, and it's going to come with good and bad in every kind of situation, whether it's mentally or physically, and that is no exception. No matter who you are, our situation right now of COVID-19 has affected absolutely everybody, every person, and with such a dramatic lifestyle change, with such a dramatic situation, you're going to have some changes, you're going to have to make some compromises, or you're going to have to sit down and take stock and consider what is important and what is not. And I think that we have to be mindful of that and just think about just how much our worlds have been turned upside down and shook about, and this new reality that we're having to settle into is not what we had before. What worked back then might not necessarily work now, and that's worth considering. Perhaps it's not you, perhaps it's not you doing anything wrong, perhaps it's just because the situation has changed so significantly that what you were doing before needs a tweak, it needs an adjustment, it needs an amendment in some way. So that is number one. Just have a think about the gravity of the situation and what that could mean. Number two is, don't put unfair pressure on yourself. Don't lose sight of what is important, and don't do whatever it takes to get the results that you want. And that might sound quite bizarre that I'm saying to you, like, don't, you know, work your ass off basically, because I know how easy it is to want something so bad that you're willing to do pretty much whatever it takes to get there. But what I mean by this is, again, considering what I said a minute ago, everything's changed, everything is new, and it's unfair to put this massive pressure on yourself along with all the other pressures that have been just dropped on us, and just expect to handle it, and just expect to be able to have that weight on our shoulders and deal with it. Try and be kinder, more mindful and more understanding of the situation that we're now all in, because I think any unnecessary pressure is just going to set you off on the wrong kind of mindset. It's not going to promote a healthy outlook, and therefore it could impact on you getting the results you want. And even if it doesn't and you do get the results you want, you know, I challenge the fact whether they're sustainable, because can you go on putting that pressure on forever? Do you want that weight on your shoulders forever? You probably don't. So that is number two. Just don't put unfair pressure on yourself, because it's just not necessary, especially with everything else that we're going through at the moment. We just don't need the extra hassle. So that is number two. The next one is accept that we're not as active. This is definitely where my situation comes in. So just to give you guys a bit of a nutshell as to where I'm at, I have gained a couple of pounds in 12 weeks. So I was 8 stone 2, sorry, I'm now 8 stone 4, and I've been 8 stone 4 for the last 12 weeks, which to me just shows that that is probably my weight now, just because I'm not doing anything differently. The only thing I can think that has changed is I'm snacking a little bit more, which is understandable. I'm at home more and I'm snacking because I'm baking a lot, and yeah, I'm just snacking that little bit more. But also, I'm not walking on the school run 4 times a day like I was doing before. I'm far less active. Even though my lifestyle has changed and I'm running after the kids more, I am not as active as I once was. I'm not going for those walks every day, and they're all uphill as well. So, you know, just have a think about it. And it's all part and parcel of, again, this new situation, this new reality. Perhaps one day I will start doing that walk again on the school run. I'm sure I will at some point, and maybe things will change again then. But for now, I'm not as active and I'm snacking more. So I've had a £2 gain. And to be quite honest, I welcomed that gain. Number one, because I needed it. I couldn't afford to lose any more weight. I'm a size 6 to 8 UK, so I'm not being too hard on myself. I could definitely afford to put that weight on. But I think regardless of what size you are, regardless of what you weigh, you have to be accepting of the fact that, again, so many things has changed and your weight may go up and down. It may shift because your body is just trying to get used to this new environment that we're in. So, you know, just accept that we're not being as active, accept that you might be around snacks more, and that you're human at the end of the day. The fourth one is to have a bit of a think. Have a bit of time to consider your goals and what you want to achieve and the changes that you think you might need to make to get there. Now, this might contradict what I said before about doing what you can and not doing it to excess, but what I mean is having a balanced think, having a balanced outlook on what you want to achieve and how you can healthily and safely get there. So are you snacking that little bit more? Could you perhaps have a little less of what you're having? Have your portions crept up? Are you having more snacks a day than, you know, what are the choices that you're making? Are these choices ones that you think, like with me, I'm going to be honest and level with you, I'm not doing anything overly differently to what I was doing before. Again, I'm having a few more snacks, but they're not necessarily unhealthy snacks. I'm just eating a little bit more. So I don't think my choices need looking at. I just think the amount of what I'm eating, the portion control, sometimes is more than it was before. But again, that's fine for me. I know my limits, I know my boundaries, and I welcomed that. I needed it for me to run. Just have a think about what you can tweak in a healthy and realistic way to get you to your realistic goals. And I say realistic very, very specifically because you need to do this in a realistic and healthy way. Because again, you don't want to be putting unfair pressure, you don't want to be putting unfair expectation on yourself, along with all the stress that we're all already going through, because it's just unnecessary and it's not a fantastic one. And this goes straight into point number 5. It goes very nicely hand in hand, and that is assess your food choices, your portion control and your habits. Of course they will have changed, especially if you're gaining weight or if you're just staying at the same weight, or perhaps you might have lost more weight than you intended. Have a look at your habits. What are you eating? How much of it are you eating? What are your snacking habits like? What meal choices are you opting for? And the all-important one, has your portion control changed? Just have a bit of a think. Sometimes we can be a little less mindful because right now it's not the priority, is it? There's so much going on around us and perhaps you haven't been as mindful, and that's the reason why. And then you've stood on the scales or you put a dress on that fit you before or some jeans and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what has happened? Just have a bit of a think and take stock and just realise it's probably something that can be tweaked very easily and very safely. The next one is consider if you've been binge or comfort eating. This can be so common in this unsettling circumstance, and I am no exception. There have been days where I've eaten a little bit more. I would never say binge because it's just not in my DNA, it's not in my nature, but again, I've definitely snacked more and I've definitely had bigger portions than I would have before. But consider, have there been days or times when you've just felt like you've had enough, you felt like, you know, that things have got a bit too much and it's led on to a chain of overeating. Now, if you're unfamiliar on the signs of binge eating, what it is, what it can mean and how to avoid it and look at it in a more healthy way generally, then I've done a video on it. I'll link it above, go and check that out. But has there been times when you've overconsumed? That's something to consider. The next one is to remember that this is a journey and it's all about having ups and downs. If you were to have good all the time, you wouldn't appreciate it. It would just be, okay, fine. In order to celebrate the good and appreciate the good, you have to have the bad. You have to have the mundane. You have to have the not really too fussed here or there times, because it makes you appreciate, it makes you relish in your hard work when these occasions and milestones do finally come. So just accept it's a process, accept it's a journey, and it's a lifestyle change. It's not a quick fix diet, it's not a quick fix, we need to get there by this time frame. There is no time frame for wellness, there is no time frame for feeling healthy and happy. So just accept that it's a journey and it's going to come with ups and downs, and that's completely normal and okay, and it happens to everybody. And that goes really nicely to the next point I wanted to make, which is just take comfort in the fact that this happens to absolutely everybody, and I'd be willing to bet there are many, many of us that can relate to this situation more than you think. A lot of us are having gains or just you know, staying at the same. Again, I've stayed the same weight now for about 3 months, which is the longest I've ever stayed at one consistent weight. And it's 8 stone 4, between 8 stone 3 and 8 stone 4. So there's definitely an increase that's happened. And I accept that. And I know that there will be many of us out there that are having a similar sort of situation, and that is absolutely okay. I take comfort in the fact that others can relate to me and I can relate to them. It gives me a talking point with people. It gives me common ground with people, and it makes me feel a little bit less alone in the fact that, you know, a lot of people are going through this, and it's actually quite average to have this kind of situation. So number 9 is, this is a bit sciencey and a bit technical, and if you're triggered by things like this, I would perhaps skip this step out altogether. But think about your BMI, think about your safe zones, and think about cutting yourself some slack and not focusing on the numbers too much. So like me, I got really angry at the fact that I gained a couple of pounds, which is ridiculous. It's something that you can't help. Like, there's a mental shift going on, and it's hard for me at times. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do have days where I just wonder why, and I'm hard on myself, and I shouldn't be, and I know that, but it's hard. It's human nature. And I went on the NHS website, I typed my stats in, 5'5", 8 stone 3, 8 stone 4, whatever, not very active, and it says to me, you are ideal weight, however you're on the lower side, consider gaining weight or at least maintaining your weight. When I'm on the higher side of number 4, it says maintain your weight, you're absolutely fine. You know, if you do put on, you can go all the way up to 10 stone 7, 10 stone 8, 10 stone 10 before it becomes an issue and you'll go into the overweight category. So just consider that massive buffer area that you may have if you're in my situation, and just take stock and think about it. If you're being unnecessarily hard on yourself, just think about these types of statistics if it helps you. Again, if it doesn't help and you've gained weight or your class is overweight and it triggers you, skip this step out. But it's just about having perspective, and even if you don't look at the numbers and check your BMI, just have perspective on the situation. It's not a big deal in general as it is in your head, and I know this myself because I do it to myself. And again, this goes on to my last point, which is, again, really nicely, and this is something I really want you guys to consider. Whatever weight that you've gained, whatever weight that you've stayed at, is only noticed by you. No one else is going to notice that you've stayed the same weight. No one is going to notice if you put a pound, 7 pound, a stone, 2 stone on. Nobody is going to notice this. You are your harshest critic. You are the one that's going to put the pressure on. You are the one that will care about this. How often have you ever looked at someone and thought these things like, oh, they've gained weight? You've not. You just don't do it. It doesn't occur to you because, number one, you're far too preoccupied on looking in on yourself. You're far too preoccupied worrying about yourself than to even consider that someone else may have gained or lost weight. Take comfort in the fact that nobody is noticing what you're doing, and no one is noticing if you've had a gain or stayed the same, because they're far too busy worrying about themselves. So, and I've said this in other videos before, happiness doesn't come from the size in the back of your jeans. Happiness doesn't come from a size that you see on this, you know, on your hanger in your wardrobe, or the number that you see on a scale. Yes, it goes a long way for confidence. Yes, it goes a long way for self-esteem. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't feel a ton better about myself. I do, and it'd be a lie, and it'd be stupid of me to say that, because why work so hard for something if you're not bothered? Do you know what I mean? I am. But what I mean is, it's not the be all and end all. My weight and my size is not everything that I have to offer to the world. It's not the most important and the most interesting thing about me, and it's not about you either. So just be kind to yourself. Just think about the bigger picture, and please, no matter how you want to address your weight gain or your weight staying the same, please just do it healthily. Please do it happily. If you're looking for foodie inspo, join me for my What I Eat in a Days. I do them every other day, and you will find healthy, nutritious and realistic meals in there as well, along with treats, junk food, comfort food, processed food. It's a very balanced situation, so please do join us for those. But comment down below, let me know where you guys are, let me know how you're feeling. I'd be really interested to know, because, you know, everyone is going through this, and I think it's important to share. It's important to be open and honest, so we can all connect and have that honest conversation and get support when we need it. So comment down below, make sure you subscribe to see more from me. If this is the first video of mine that you've stumbled across, I would love to have you. Give it a like, comment, say hi, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!